All right, today we are tackling one of golf's most maddening mysteries, the flyer. You know, that shot that can absolutely wreck a great round. But what's really cool is that when you figure out what causes it, it reveals a surprising truth about physics and the golf swing that, well, most people have had wrong for a long, long time. So let's get on the same page. What is a flyer? Well, it's that shot you hit from the rough. It feels great off the club face, and then you just watch in disbelief as it sails way over the green. You planned for 160 yards, and it just went 180. What on earth is going on there? And this is where the whole puzzle really starts. The traditional wisdom, the thing we've all been told, is that it's all about grass and water. But as the author of our source material, Mathis, points out, if you really stop and think about it, it just doesn't quite add up. So let's start there, with that common explanation. Okay, so first up, the official story. This is the theory that's been the gospel in golf for like over 50 years. The conventional theory is actually pretty simple. You're in the rough, a little bit of grass, maybe some dew, gets trapped between your club and the ball when you hit it. This basically acts like a lubricant, right? It reduces the friction you need to create all that nice backspin. So less spin means the ball doesn't climb, it just kind of launches forward with a ton of extra energy. I mean, it sounds perfectly logical, doesn't it? Yeah, it sounds logical until you start pulling on the thread just a little bit. That's when the whole thing starts to unravel. Seriously, just think about this for a second. Your driver is your distance club. You want it to go as far as humanly possible. If the secret sauce to huge distance was just less spin, wouldn't club makers be selling drivers with perfectly smooth faces? You'd get that flyer effect on every single tee shot. But they don't. And, let's take that to the next logical step. If you're a tour pro and you knew that a little bit of lubrication could predictably add 20 yards to your 7-iron, why wouldn't you use that? Why not just carry a little bottle of oil, give the club a quick wipe in the rough, and boom, extra distance? The fact that nobody does this tells you that the effect probably isn't that simple or predictable. And this is the real kicker. The author says he plays out of tall grass all the time, and he has never, not one single time, hit a flyer. This is the key that unlocks the entire mystery. I mean, if the grass on the club face theory were true, this guy should be hitting flyers left and right, but is not. So what's so different about his swing? Well, here's the difference, and it's everything. The author calls himself a picker. He sweeps the ball off the turf with a pretty shallow swing. But most pros, and yeah, the golfers who complain about flyers, are diggers. They come in steep, they hit down on the ball, and they take a big, chunky divot. And that action, hitting down and compressing the ball into the ground, that's the real clue here. So this leads us to a completely new explanation. It asks us to just forget about the grass on the club face for a minute, and instead look down. Look at the turf under the golf ball. The whole secret to the flyer, it's got nothing to do with friction or spin. Nope. It's all about this really powerful interaction between the club, the ball, and the ground itself. It's a hidden source of energy that diggers tap into, and pickers don't. Now check this out, because it totally reframes how we think about impact. On a flyer shot, the club is moving so steeply downwards that it traps the ball. It literally pinches it against the ground. The ball, being rubber, squishes down, and the ground, being firm, pushes right back. You are essentially using the earth as a trampoline to launch the ball with a ton of extra force. Okay, so that's a really cool theory. But the real test is, does it actually explain what we see out on the course? Its real power is in how neatly it explains all the different situations where flyers do and don't happen. Let's connect the dots. Just look at how this all clicks into place. On a tight fairway lie, the ball's already sitting right on the firm ground, so there's no room to pinch it and get that bounce. In super deep rough, the ball is sitting way up high, so you have to sweep it. You can't hit down on it. But that perfect rough lie, the one where the ball is just sitting up a little bit, that is the flyer zone. It's the perfect amount of space to smash that ball into the ground and get the maximum trampoline effect. And this ground recoil theory doesn't stop there. It also explains other weird flyer mysteries. Like, why do flyers happen more often when it's wet? Well, it's not because of water on the club. It's because wet soil is more dense, so it gives you a firmer bounce pad. This even explains how you can hit flyers off a brand new driving range mat. There's no grass involved, but there is a very powerful rebound effect. And all of this brings us to the final, really mind-blowing twist.
See, we've been looking at the flyer like it's some kind of freak accident. But what if it's not an accident at all? What if it's actually a clue to what's happening on a totally normal golf shot?
And here it is, the biggest takeaway of all. For those golfers who hit down on the ball, the so-called diggers, every single iron shot they hit is already using this ground bounce effect to some degree. What they call compression, well, it's really just a partial flyer. The flyer isn't the anomaly. It's just that same effect turned up to 11 by the perfect lie in the rough. So the question that leaves us with is, if a normal shot for most golfers is already a partial flyer, what does a truly pure golf shot even look like?